Hi, this is Gianna Isabella, and you're listening to Harv Roman on House of Freestyle.
XtremeMixRadio.com and the TuneIn app. To the celebrity hotline we go. Gianna Isabella, are you there?
Yes, hi, it's Gianna Isabella.
That is crazy. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm doing well. You have no idea who I am, but it feels strange because I'm going to be one of those that says that it feels like I've known you forever because I've known your parents forever. My first interview with your mom was conducted before you were even born. And now you're doing what she used to do. That's kind of insane. And then I got excited about doing the interview. I'm like, I don't know if I've done 2 generations of music interviews. And so here we are.
Yes, absolutely. I'm very excited to speak to you today.
That is crazy. Thanks for doing this, by the way, because I know it's a tough time. I know that you're a student, and I know that you have other things that you can be doing to catch up on things, and it was real neat to be able to talk to Mom and Dad and be able to set this up, because I know that it's not always easy.
Absolutely, no problem.
I'm gonna go back for a minute, because there are those that probably have no idea. The first time I played anything by you, it was a Christmas song, and I think you were 10 or 11 years old.
Yes, so that song actually was even younger than that. That was my first recording ever. I believe I was 6 years old, and it was Hippopotamus for Christmas. I was 6 years old at that time.
And the one that I was talking about was Chihuahua. Not the Hip Hop Anonymous.
Merry Little Christmas?
That one. That's the one that I got, and I don't remember if it was Mom or Dad that sent it to me. and I started playing it, and I got such a kick out of it because it's a little different when you know the parents and you feel like you're supporting them and then supporting the child. But the difference is you being the daughter of a performer. There's pressure, I imagine, but you're good.
Thank you so much.
Tell me about that, because you came from one generation of Brenda K. Starr, your mom. She comes out in the mid-'80s. She does Beat Street. She does some freestyle. She does a classic slow jam. But even before Mom, Grandpa was a performer as well, and that goes back to the 1960s. And now here you are. It's 2020. So it either is pressure that you have to live up to something, or it's, you know what, this is what I'm meant to do.
No, I don't think there's ever really pressure in my art that I do, which is music. I think it's more just me wanting to like live up and have my parents be proud of me, as well as my grandfather who is in heaven. So I definitely want to work very hard so that they could be proud of how much I've grown. And my mom taught me since I was 6 years old. So I want to show her that all of her hard work that she's put in with me is going to pay off. So that's why I hustle so much. I just don't think it would be more pressure because I've never felt like they put it on me to be up to this certain expectation. At the end of the day, they want me to do my music and for me to enjoy it.
Well, heavenly respect to the life and memory of Harvey Kaplan, by the way, because you're right. He was doing things in the 60s, and like you say, he's in heaven now, but he kind of laid the groundwork for you to follow.
Absolutely.
And the family as well. It's kind of interesting because each of you, in your own ways, have set the tone. You could have gone either way. You could have been an athlete. You could have been a model. You're a singer. You could be a teacher because you've instructed people too. What at some point made you decide, you know what, maybe I'll do the singing thing? There's other things that you can do, but you decided to settle into singing.
I definitely feel like the reason that I was set on my music career rather than going the route of being an athlete or a model or an actress, not that I wouldn't want to go into that route of acting and modeling and dancing as well. I definitely want to branch out and do that at some point, but right now I'm more like focused on my singing. And I think that's because with music, I am also a songwriter. So everything I feel and everything that's in my mind, I kind of love that I can pour it onto a page and share it with my supporters. And I personally know that when I'm going through something, I have artists that I listen to that help me know that I'm not alone. And I want to be that person for my supporters.
Let me talk about some of the other supporters, your fellow competitors in American Idol. When you watch the program, it's kind of watching you guys grow from day one until the finale, and then watching you all, and then following you on social media, and also following, you know, what's posted by mom and dad. It seems as if that particular circle of talent that you came up in with your season of American Idol, it seems like you guys were family amongst yourselves.
Absolutely. So my season of American Idol, season 15, was actually, I think, one of the more seasons that were like a lot of young contestants. So with that being said, I do believe that we all got a really close bond with one another because although we weren't in school at that time, we were being homeschooled with our own tutor. So when we weren't rehearsing or going to the wardrobes and hair and makeup and stuff like that, we would be doing schoolwork with our tutor. So it was kind of like we were in a classroom and we were all just classmates. And when we weren't doing our music, we would go do fun things like go to Dave & Buster's, get dinner together, go to the beach. So it was definitely a fun experience, and I've made some lifelong friends through that show.
So when they show the footage of you guys, the ones that are, you know, you do like Coke commercials and stuff, but it's the footage that they show is you guys having a blast together and laughing and stuff. That's not made up. That's what you were actually doing when you were off camera.
Yes, it was not made up. That was all raw and just us being regular kids.
Hey, let me ask you this. This is one of the things that I was thinking about when we talk about American Idol. It almost seems as if those who do not wind up winning, besides Kelly Clarkson, she's doing great, it seems as if you are not the winner. If you're a finalist maybe, if you're in top 10, if you're in top 5, you might be better off. Because I've seen success by a lot of American Idol alum who didn't win, but they're winning in terms of their careers. Is that something that you feel as well, that winning is nice, but maybe you lose a little sense of freedom?
So I don't know if I would say that you lose a sense of freedom. I think it's more how much drive and hustle that you have. So if you're constantly hustling and grinding at your work and you're doing what you can every day to become a better artist, I think whether you win the competition or you become in second or even 15th, 10th place, I think that how much you put yourself into your work and how much you try to push yourself to become better every day, that's what kind of determines how far you can make it in the industry.
I love it when it's dark outside, 'cause I know you'll be here, right here by my side, yeah. The knock on my window lets me know I'm ready for that long drive through the night sky. And we set off when it gets late. I just wanna get from here, find a way that we can leave this place. And I wanna disappear, show me a new view, 'cause nothing compares to these nights with you. Quickly race to the fog, we're just trying to get lost. There's nothing I'd rather do than spend nights with you. How bad do you think it goes? Find ourselves along the coast, burn all the lights, break the rules to spend nights with you. I just need you by my side, hold my hand throughout the night, switching the gears as we burn through good years, leaving both of our marks behind. Even if we go too fast, don't know if we'll ever crash. Just know that I got you all through this life, you know I'm your ride. And we set off when it gets late. I just wanna get from here, find a way that we can leave this place. Just take me far away, I ain't gotta look back. All I gotta look at are these nights with you. Quickly race to the fog, we're just trying to get lost. There's nothing I'd rather do than spend nights with you. How bad do you think it goes? Find ourselves along the coast, grind all the lights, break the rules to spend nights with you. I don't wanna waste this moment. You're the only thing I need. Doesn't matter where we're going.
There are two. I have two favorite moments from your time on Idol. One of them is when you performed "I Still Believe," and Mom was in the audience. And then the other one was when you're at the panel and there's Keith Urban and Jennifer Lopez, and then they brought you and Mom back to meet them and get a nice hug from Jennifer, and she talked about, she started relating to you guys because she was a young performer like you are.
Yes, those are definitely my two favorite moments. I would say, I mean, every day, even to this day, it's just surreal that my mom got to hand me the golden ticket. And it was a moment in my life in which I'll never forget and I'll forever be grateful for. So thank you to the judges that were on the panel that gave my mom that platform to be able to do that. And they were so kind to allow her to do that. So that definitely will stick with me forever. And definitely being able to sing my mom's song, because I remember growing up at 5 and 6 years old, her bringing me on stage with her and me singing it with her. So for me to be able to sing it on my own and watch her in the crowd when there was hundreds of people that I was singing in front of, and even thousands of people, it was definitely a surreal experience, and it's one that I'll never fully comprehend how I was able to do that at 15. It's crazy to me. It's definitely shocking that I grew up listening to my mom's music, and it kind of came full circle when I was able to sing it for her.
Well, I think your personality is what winds up carrying you, because, yeah, when you were 15, 16, and you're competing on stage and national TV, there's an innocence about you, and then there's something that's natural about you. And then there are some performers where you can tell that they're rehearsed and they're trying to be polished, and it doesn't come off as authentic. When you were performing, obviously it comes off as authentic. And then when Mom and Dad are in the audience, you can't fake the way they were reacting to how you were performing.
Yes. So I definitely think in regards to me performing at such a young age and like kind of just being myself, really, and that's why I was so bubbly and personable with everybody that I met and everyone that I worked with on the show. I definitely didn't want to put too much pressure on myself, as I don't put a lot of pressure on me now, because I didn't want it to affect the way that I was going to perform. Because at the end of the day, when you're on a show that is a competition, you don't know when your last performance is going to be. So I felt as though if I put too much stress and too much pressure on myself, it may affect how I would perform. So I tried to have fun every performance that I did and kind of just be carefree and enjoy the moment. And I think that's why I made it so far alongside with my personality.
When the decision was made that you were going to audition, what were the expectations? What were the hopes? When you said, okay, let's do this, how far did you envision going, or were you just happy to set foot on stage and perform?
I don't think that I had a certain level that I wanted to get to. I just appreciated the opportunity for the world to even hear me sing just once. But by the grace of God, I ended up making the top 10, which is still crazy to me. But I kind of just wanted to do it for the experience, just to become more professional in my craft, but also remember to have fun throughout it. So I don't think that I really went into the competition hoping that I would make it to a certain level. I more so went into the competition just for the experience and for the world to hear my voice.
Harv Roman, House of Freestyle. It's a Saturday afternoon, XtremeMixxRadio.com and the TuneIn app. Talking to Gianna Isabella on the Celebrity Hotline. Thanks again for the opportunity to have a chat with you about what you're up to and what you're about to achieve. Because yeah, you've done some things, but man, this is only the beginning. I can imagine how many things you're going to do before you're through. You're so young.
Yes, I am.
Tell me about the juggling of student and performer, and then you also have voice students, don't you?
I do. So I am a vocal coach. I also am performing myself and writing my own music. I'm in the recording studio. So I am very busy, but I kind of managed to work it out because I mainly do my recording sessions at night, and I'm always writing songs, whether it's with my voice dictation on my phone or my voice memo. So I can do that even when I'm driving. One of the songs that are actually coming up on my first EP is going to be called Beg, and it's personally one of my favorite songs that I've written, and I actually wrote that on my way to school with my voice dictation. So I managed to be talking to my phone and writing the song as I'm driving to school, running late actually, because I had a late night prior. But it's crazy because you can do songwriting really wherever you go, and you can come up with these beats in your head wherever you go. And then I would teach my students mainly in the afternoon as soon as I get out of school, and then after working with my students, I would go straight to the recording studio and do the same thing the next day.
How much did mom affect your style of teaching? Because I'm assuming that mom used to teach you a little bit as you were growing up.
So my mom definitely affected my style of teaching immensely. Everything I know is from my mom. So from the vocal warm-ups to the techniques that I teach to the patience, my mom was very, very patient with me growing up. So I make sure that I'm patient with my students. My mom always taught me that there are times that you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable with your singing, because that's where growth comes into play. So I try to teach my students that as well. So everything I'm teaching my kids, my mom has taught to me.
And she hit the stage in 1984 in Beach Street. You probably rewound that back and forth a few thousand times.
Yes, I remember that. Actually, Beach Street is my favorite performance of my mom.
Get out of here.
Watching her do Vicious Beat. It's my all-time favorite. I've watched the movie at least a dozen times, but that's definitely one of my favorite memories of my mom.
Well, being 20 years old, somebody like me would look at you and say, man, she has an old soul, because the impacts that you've had on you don't seem necessarily new school. It seems like you're very, very comfortable going back in time. Considering it's 2020, if you had to do something from 1980, 1990, you can handle it. It seems like that era affected you.
Absolutely. So growing up, I actually spent a lot of time with my grandparents. So I would have a lot of time listening to, music from the 80s and 90s and even as far back as the 50s and 60s. So I have a very eclectic taste in music. And odds are, if you play me a song, I'm going to know it. It's because I listen to so many different genres from so many different eras. And I feel like that also benefits me as a musician, because I've always wanted to feel like I can bring older music back. Kind of similar to G-Eazy. He's a rapper. He's fantastic. But he took old music from the 50s and 60s. He put it underneath his track, and he started rapping over them. So in my career, I kind of want to intertwine older music and modern.
And they don't know that I'm back in my ways again, and nothing's getting in my way, my way. Tell me a lie again. Telling you once you ain't gon' make me cry again. You cut it close, I ain't gon' waste my time again. So don't you get about my way, my way. Every time it's the same, got no time for your games. Always saying that you're gonna change. Never say, can tell me what you say. Tell me you will have it all. You say, baby, don't go. Always saying that you wanna love. Give it to you. I'm feeling again. Washed away my pain again. I'm gonna be alright again. Just another night again. Tell me you lie again. I'm telling you once you ain't gonna make me cry again. You can't get close, I ain't gonna waste my time again. So don't you get up on my way, my way. Every time it's the same, got no time for your games. Always saying that you're gonna change. Never say, can tell me what you say. Tell me you will have it all. You say, baby, don't go. Always saying that you wanna love. Give it to you, it's not enough. Every time it's the same, got no time for your games. Always saying that you're gonna change. Never say, can tell me what you say. Tell me you will have it all. You say, baby, don't go. Always saying that you wanna love. Give it to you, it's not enough. Every time it's the same.
And I also want to talk finally about that high school rally. I think you posted a video. I want to say it was on your YouTube channel, but I saw that you wound up going back to your school and performing in front of your New Jersey buddies. This is something that probably, you know, I would imagine it stayed with you to this day as well. How was that? Because these are kids that you have recess with and you go to lunch with and you pal around with. And so to them, you're Gianna Isabella, but you may not necessarily be the one that's controlling the mic and controlling the crowd. And next thing you know, you're at your own high school and you're performing for an auditorium filled with people.
Absolutely. So being able to have that assembly at my old high school, Jackson Memorial, I think it was during American Idol. So being able to have that opportunity and seeing everybody that I had grown up with and all these amazing teachers that I had worked with, be able to listen to my music and talk to me about the experience, me being able to perform in front of them was an amazing experience. And it kind of brings me back to second grade. I used to bring in these little CDs of covers that I would do of Christmas songs or of just songs that were popular at the time, like Selena Gomez or Justin Bieber. And I would make covers of them, and I would make my teacher play them on our CD player. So to have these people from second grade that would listen to my music, and, you know, it was just like more for fun to end up being on American Idol, and those same kids that I'd grown up with, be able to see me on television and be able to hear me live in front of them at a high school assembly was definitely an amazing experience.
Yeah, no, they invented watch parties for you just to see how you were how you were progressing with the competition, and like I say, to be able to perform in front of your buddies, and then to have what was the big moment when the big reveal came that you were Brenda K. Starr's daughter, and then Jennifer says, "Wait a minute, I know her," and then she comes out from behind the curtain, and you guys had a big hug, and there were tears. That's the kind of stuff that you don't see enough about, and that was pretty strong.
Absolutely. That was a great experience that I was able to share with Jennifer, that my mom was Brenda K. Starr, and the fact that they had grown up together was so amazing. But actually, when I had done that, Jennifer, just for her to even remember my mom, because they were like 14, 13 years old when they first met each other growing up in New York, I was actually surprised that they had remembered each other, and I thought it was beautiful that when they both had seen each other for the first time, that it was kind of like two old friends picking up right where they left off. So I thought that was inspiring to see. And it was an amazing experience. And definitely Jennifer was so kind and sweet and open to, being nice to us. It was amazing because sometimes, not everybody, but sometimes when you become famous, people can change. And I can definitely say that Jennifer Lopez has not changed, and she's a very kind person.
No, I agree with you. And then you wind up reading things about celebrities and how they've changed and whatever. Jennifer Lopez, just like I, she was a club kid. She was a kid that grew up in the Boys and Girls Club. I grew up in a Boys and Girls Club, and I ended up becoming a director of a Boys and Girls Club. And she and Alex Rodriguez both, they would always come back and they would always donate. And at one point, she was a spokesperson for the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. And I would tell people this, and they would say, yeah, but she became famous and this, that. And they have no idea because they don't know the real people.
Yes, I believe that at the end of the day, it's all about how you were raised. And I can say wholeheartedly that I can tell by the person that Jennifer Lopez is that she was raised by amazing parents. And it goes the same for me, I would like to say. My mother and father raised me very well and respectfully. And if you are raised respectfully, no matter how high you make it in the industry, you know to be respectful and kind to others and treat others how you would want to be treated. So that doesn't go without saying. Not everybody that makes it big ends up changing up on you.
And that makes it so much more fun, because there was a point somebody sent me a link to Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez were in a car, and they were driving, they were blasting Freestyle, which is cool. And then there was a point, well, it was only a couple of weeks ago, I think, that your mom did her own little version of Carpool Karaoke.
Yes.
That thing, I watched for an hour, and I didn't get to see the whole thing. She must have been on for like an hour and a half.
Yes, she loves doing that.
There were other people in the car, but you were not in the car at that time, were you?
No, I wasn't. I was probably at work or doing some other stuff, hanging out with my best friend. But my mom does love doing that. It kind of runs in the family because my brother loves doing it and my two sisters. And I also love jamming out in the car. And if anybody wants a song to jam out to in the car, you can listen to Feel the Same by Gianna Isabella. That's a little selfless promo there. But yeah.
Well, I purchased it earlier, and then I've got Nice With You también. Nice With You, what I liked about that video is it's like you said, okay, who are my buddies and who do I want to feature in this video, which is very, very cool. Feel the Same, I'm waiting on a video treatment for that, but it's pretty neat that you can now be able to put together music and put it out, and it's easily accessible, and it is so inexpensive to do it. It's nothing for somebody to decide to purchase a song and support you. And when you add it all up, what is it now? 300,000? Is that what they call them, plays or downloads or whatever it is? That's crazy.
Yes, so it's actually 300,000 streams. We just hit that on Nice With You, and I'm hoping we can also match that with my new single, Feel the Same. So I would appreciate if everybody could just give it a quick listen. I think that they would all appreciate it. It's definitely a summer type of song, and with us being in summer and in quarantine, I feel like everyone would enjoy it. It would get them in a good mood. But it was definitely surreal for my first single ever to be released to hit 300,000 streams, and that's all thanks to my fans.
And you're watching these clicks and clicks and clicks. Is that something you envision? I'm going to get into 100,000, and I'm going to get into 200,000. All of a sudden, you'll be at 500,000. It's crazy to think about, isn't it?
Yes, it's definitely crazy to think about. I think every day I try to push myself to reach a new goal, but I never imagined my first single to hit that many streams and that many people who enjoyed listening to it and sharing it. So it kind of is still registering with me that many people want to hear my voice, but that's just giving me more drive to get more work out there for my supporters.
I just wanna be under your spell, no control, oh, take hold of me. Hold me close and never go if you're up to me. You do what I say, make it nasty, but you're so shy, so I guess I'll have to hypnotize you with my words and body. Hypnotize you, put your hands all on me. Gonna put you in a trance, gonna get a little bit romantic tonight. All I needed is a chance to hypnotize you right. Oh, oh, thought you'd be the one for life. Oh, don't say never go if you're up to me. You do what I say, make it nasty. But you're so shy, so I guess I'll have to hypnotize you with my words and body. Hypnotize you, put your hands all on me. Gonna put you in a trance, gonna get a little bit romantic tonight. All I needed is a chance to hypnotize you with. I wanna be everything you need, but you can't seem to reciprocate. So Godspeed. Oh. Hypnotize you with my words and body. Hypnotize you, put your hands all on me. Gonna put you in a trance, gonna get a little bit romantic tonight. All I needed is a chance to hypnotize you with. Hypnotize you with my words and body. Hypnotize you, put your hands all on me. Gonna put you in a trance, gonna get a little bit.
I'm reading that you're also taking Spanish lessons just like Mom did once upon a time. So are you also trying to do some crossing over and maybe get into another genre of success besides the English dance market and the English slow jam market?
I absolutely would like to get into another market with my music, which would mainly be Spanish, and I am taking Spanish lessons currently as well as Italian lessons. But I would definitely like to go into bilingual and some salsa as well.
That'll be so. Well, that gives you something else then. Well, no, I shouldn't say something else because you've already performed Spanish music with your mom, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I've been singing Spanish music with my mom since as long as I can remember, probably 6 years old. But the thing is, I could never really remember what it was that I was saying because I was so young. But now I want to take that step to really understand the beautiful language as well.
Can you tell me about a performance that maybe has moved you a little bit? I've got something in my mind right now, but I don't know if I'm going to be correct about. But you're a performer, and Mom's a performer, and Grandpa was also a performer. Is there a performer or a performance that really struck a nerve with you?
I definitely feel like the performance that had struck a nerve with me was a while ago. I believe it was in New York. I don't particularly remember what year it was. It was probably 2 or 3 years ago, but I was able to sing I Still Believe with my mom. And it was amazing because she had a whole arena sold out, and it was amazing because I used to do that when I was 6 years old. So for me to do that when I was, 16, 17 years old, it was definitely an amazing moment to share with her.
This is becoming normal for you, right? To walk into a sold-out arena and just be able to perform and sing as if it's second nature?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think it will ever become normal because it all feels so surreal, and I'm so grateful for the opportunities that I have to share my music with everybody. But I would like to work hard enough every day so that at some point it will become normal for me.
When you went to school, how normal or not normal was that, considering who you were, what you were doing, and who your family is?
I believe that when I went to school, everyone just treated me like a normal kid. I mean, they all knew that I could sing because I would never be quiet. I'd be walking through the hallways and always humming or singing something, or have my headphones and listening to music. But I think because my town, Jackson, was so close-knit, because it's actually like one of the bigger towns in Jersey, but because I lived there for such a long time, for like 19 years, since I had lived there for so long, everybody was kind of like family. So I think that everybody treated me pretty much the same. They didn't switch up on me, which I really appreciated, because in the world when so many things were changing in my life because of me being on American Idol, I could appreciate some stability of like a normalcy.
Harv Roman's House of Freestyle, Xtreme Mixx Radio, and the Tune-In app with Gianna Isabella on the Celebrity Hotline. Feel the same that we're talking about. That is the latest, and it was recently released. So how easy is it to obtain? Somebody who's listening says, okay, I want the latest, or maybe I want to get nights with you. How can we all do that?
Well, it's extremely easy to obtain my first single, which was Nights With You, and my newest single, which was just released within the last month and a half, Still the Same, which is a more upbeat dance record. You can get that from my Instagram, my Twitter bio. If you press the link, it will take you to a tree link. Now, a tree link will either take you to Spotify, iTunes, Google Music. It'll pretty much every streaming service, and it's the easiest way. Or you can even type in on YouTube, Gianna Isabella, and it will come up.
But don't you miss going to a record shop, or do you even know what a record shop is?
Yes, I actually go to a record shop when quarantine isn't a thing, when the pandemic is a thing, and, record shops. I actually do have a record player. I've had them for about 3 years now, and I love going to the record shops. I love getting...
It's funny.
My Led Zeppelin and all that, and my Aretha Franklin, and I just feel like it's different.
Wait, you just cited Led Zeppelin, so your musical influences are not necessarily the dance music or the pop music. You just named Led Zeppelin. That's like rock and roll of the 70s for you.
Yes, actually, fun fact, my favorite genre of music is classic rock. I do sing pop music, so it's kind of like polar opposites, but I try as an artist to have a very eclectic sound in music and eclectic taste, because at the end of the day, I want to educate myself on music and everything that comes with it, whether it's country music, pop, rock and roll, hip-hop. I want to learn it all, incorporate it in my music genre, which isn't like, I want my genre obviously to be pop, but I want pop rock, pop alternative, country pop. I want everything that somebody can listen to Isabella and listen to that, or I can listen to that when I'm working out at the gym or when I'm reading a book. I want them to listen to my music, and it's open to anybody.
That kind of mirrors the experience that I went through, because I grew up in the 70s heading into high school, and so I'm into Kiss and Boston and Aerosmith, and then disco happened. And,
yes.
And I liked disco, but I discovered it because of Disco Demolition. I used to listen to the rock station that was blowing up the disco music, and then when Disco Demolition happened at Comiskey Park, I was like, and I stayed listening to that station when they flipped formats, so then I go back and forth from the heavy metal rock and roll to the disco, which of course led to freestyle and house music, and so that's how I can end up loving Led Zeppelin, and also loving what Brenda was putting out when she was putting out the English freestyle stuff, and loving what you're putting out, which is a very mature sound, which is kind of interesting, because you were that teenager on American Idol, and now you're only 20, but there's a mature sound now compared to, it's like you grew up musically in front of us.
Thank you so much. I definitely wanted to be known that American Idol was an amazing experience, but I was also 15 at that time. And I know that my supporters at times can think back to only thinking of the 15-year-old on American Idol. And I've definitely put in the work and the practice to become more mature and better at my craft. So that's also why I would appreciate if they would take a listen to my newer original music, so that they can hear the growth in my vocals.
No.
'Cause I know you'll be here, right here by my side, yeah. The knock on my window lets me know I'm ready for that long drive through the night sky. And we set off when it gets late. I just wanna get from here, find a way that we can leave this place. And I wanna disappear, show me a new view, 'cause nothing compares to these nights with you. Quickly race to the clock, but just trying to get lost. There's nothing I'd rather do than spend nights with you. How about we pick a ghost, find ourselves along the coast, burn all the lights, break the rules to spend nights with you. I just need you by my side, hold my hand throughout the night, switching the gears as we burn through good years, leaving both of our marks behind. Even if we go too fast, don't know if we'll ever crash. Just know that I got you all through this life, you know I'm your ride. And we set off when it gets late. I just wanna get from here, find a way that we can leave this place. Just take me far away, I ain't gotta look back. All I gotta look at are these nights with you. Quickly race to the clock, we're just trying to get lost. There's nothing I'd rather do than spend
in my vocals.
No, there's definitely growth, and yes, you were that teenager, and you were cute, and you were cuddly, but even the image has changed, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want this. She was a little girl. Can't she just stay little? But you're 20.
Yeah, so I definitely have grown up a lot from being 15 to 20 years old, but I also want to stay age appropriate and want to feel comfortable in, the words that I'm singing and the clothes that I'm wearing and how I'm presenting myself. So I definitely want to keep it age appropriate, but whether we all want to face it or not, we do start growing up before our eyes can even handle it.
Well, that is one of the things that's noticeable, though, that you have not done. That there are younger performers, teen performers in the past that, I don't know if they chose their wardrobe. I don't know if it was management. I don't know. But there were things that, and I used to do radio shows with kids here, and I'd play the music, but then I'd kind of hate the album cover. And I'm like, this is what young people are looking towards. You've become a role model, whether you plan to or not. And I used to think that about some of the artists that we would play on Club Kids Radio. I'm like, man, these kids like them, but man, dress up a little bit, man.
Yes. So I definitely think that as an artist, especially being 20 years old in a younger artist area, I definitely want to remember that I am a role model for the younger generation. But, and I agree with you with certain people and the things that they're wearing on their albums, but I'm also 100% an advocate for being comfortable in your skin and being able to present yourself how you feel you want the world to see you. And I think that with my music and my EP cover and my album coming and the songs that I'm going to be singing, the words that I'm going to be saying, I want to be 100% transparent, because at the end of the day, being an artist, you want to be 100% real with your supporters. And my message that I would like to get across with my the younger generation is just to be whoever you want to be and whoever you feel comfortable being and love who you are, Talking
to the younger generation, at the risk of getting off topic a little bit with the music, I work at a school. I'm not live streaming or not, doing podcasting, and these kids right now, Gianna, well, you're a kid still, you're 20, but you're a kid compared to me. I don't know how to have these conversations with these kids when school gets closed. There's a pandemic happening. In addition to that pandemic that's happening, we had people here that, downtown where they're rioting and they're boarding things up and they're breaking into their own stores and stuff. And I was telling some of the teachers, I can't wait for these kids to come back, because I don't know who's talking to them. I don't know if they're watching TV, but I don't want them to judge the world based on what they're seeing, on the news or outside their windows. You being one of those young people who are making an impression on people, how do we, the next time you go into a school and somebody says, what do you think about all this, how do you discuss these things with young people?
I feel we should just all be 100% transparent and honest about what is going on, because it is and we definitely need to reform certain things. And at the end of the day, whether we're going to teach children what's going on in the world, whether it's the Black Lives Matter movement or the pandemic, if we don't discuss it truthfully and honestly with them, then they're kind of on social media. And sometimes things aren't always true on social media. So if it were me in a situation, I would just be 100% honest.
Because you know that's going to happen, and your voice is going to be one of those that whether you're singing or talking, you're going to influence tons of people. And so I'm glad to hear you talking that way, because not enough. I come from, I'm in Chicago, and Michael Jordan was famously known for not taking a stand on things, and now that The Last Dance came out, he finally was saying things that were socially relevant, 30 years later. But back then he says, it's not my job. It's not my job. The problem is it may or may not be your job, but people look up to you when you're up there, when you're on a stage, when you're behind a mic, when you're on the air, when you're performing. It's something that maybe you didn't want to sign up for, but it almost seems like once you've made this decision, you kind of signed up for it.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely think that us as influencers and role models always need to be honest with our youth, because our youth are our future. And we need to make some serious changes in society and in what's going on right now. So it kind of is our job in a sense, because at the end of the day, the younger generation is looking up to us and listening to us, to what we have to say. and I just want to make sure that I'm educating my supporters, and I'm making sure that I'm 100% honest, and I stand where I do in my beliefs.
Oh, that's Gianna Isabella on the Celebrity Hotline. Nights with You is one of the singles. I Feel the Same as the other, and I'm assuming that you're collecting these songs little by little. There's going to be an album in the future, isn't there?
Absolutely, there's going to be an album. I actually just finished up with an EP, and I'm getting ahead on the album as well, the second one that I would like to release, just because I'm a person that likes to get things done ahead of time and then perfect them as time goes on. So I definitely had a lot of fun things coming out very soon.
That is so good to know, and I'm so glad that you were able to take time out and do this, because like I said, I know it gets busy, and this is something that I've wanted to do. Heck, well, not since that Christmas songs. You're like 10, 11 years old, but when you hit Idol, I'm like, wait a minute, we gotta talk to her. We gotta let people know a little bit more about her, and you're open and you're honest and you're personable, and these are all things that are gonna serve you well. And I'm glad that you were able to do this. It's been fun to talk to you, and I'm proud to. Well, we never met face to face, but it almost feels like I know you because of your parents, and it's such a blessing to be able to have a conversation with you and allow you to talk to our audience about what you're up to.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on your talk show. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to meeting you at some point in the future when this pandemic starts to die down and we, God willing, find a cure for it. But in the future, just some things to look out for Gianna Isabella. I've got a music video dropping for my second single, Feel the Same. I've got an EP coming soon after a third single I intend on releasing. And after that EP, I'm trying to drop an album. So a lot of fun things coming.
I just want to be under your spell, no control, oh, take hold of me. Hold me close and never go if you're up to me. You do what I say, make it nasty. But you're so shy, so I guess I'll have to hypnotize you with my words and body. Hypnotize you, put your hands all on me. Gonna put you in a trance, gonna get a little bit romantic tonight. All I needed is a chance to hypnotize you right. Oh, thought you'd be the one for life. Oh, but you proved I wasn't right. Laid it on the line for you, something I don't really do. Vanilla don't look good on you. I just wanna be under your spell, no control, oh, take hold of me. Hold me close and never go if you were up to me. You do what I say, make it nasty. But you're so shy, so I guess I'll have to hypnotize you with my words and body. Hypnotize you, put your hands all on me. Gonna put you in a trance, gonna get a little bit romantic tonight. All I needed is a chance to hypnotize you right. I wanna be everything you need, but you can't seem to reciprocate. So Godspeed. Oh. Hypnotize you with my words and body. Hypnotize you, put your hands all on me. Gonna put you in a trance, gonna get a little bit romantic tonight. All I needed is a chance to hypnotize you right. Hypnotize you with my words and body. Hypnotize you, put your hands all on me. Gonna put you in a trance, gonna get a little bit romantic tonight. All I needed is a chance to hypnotize you right.
Hi, this is Gianna Isabella, and you're listening to Harv Roman on House of Freestyle.